live on a cool and sunny, although it's going to be dark any minute because of the stupid clock change. It is a Sunday afternoon. Welcome on into the Bullpen. I am your host, Adam the Bull, and this podcast, as always, is brought to you by Bet Rivers. If you're not using the Bet Rivers app, I'm not sure what you're doing right now, to be honest with you, and why would I lie? A lot to talk about in what was just a clusterfuck of a game for the Browns today. They lose 27-10 to fall to 2-7. And those of us, like even me, 2 weeks ago I said the season was over. Even after the game and the Browns won last week, I said stop being silly. And as the week went on, I conned myself, like a lot of you, into believing the Browns still had a chance to make the playoffs. But they're a bad football team that had a good week. We read way too much into it. There's still a lot of problems on this team. Jameis Winston was absolutely awful. I don't know that we need to go overboard on Jameis because it was one bad game of the two he's played. But he was hideous, just absolutely atrocious. They couldn't run the football. I will never kill Nick Chubb. This is all about his, listen, he's showing you he's a human being. It takes time to, we don't know if Nick Chubb is ever going to be Nick Chubb again, but he's certainly not now. I don't say that to rip him. I just say it because it's the reality. You want to say the offensive line wasn't great? Okay, fine. But listen, the old Nick Chubb would have had a much bigger day than 15 carries for 39 yards. What are you going to do? He's just not, again, we don't know if he'll ever be right. I believe he will be at some point. But it was silly. It was stupid of some of us, myself certainly included, to think he could just be back like this. It was unfair to him. And it was ludicrous to believe that because obviously he looks at the moment like a shell of his former self. Nothing in the passing game. I know I'll give Tillman a little bit of credit. He did have that nice touchdown, but the game was over. It was a great play to keep his feet in, and statistically, it looks like his third straight good game. But I'm not really going to kill him. But just overall, the passing game was terrible. I'm not a big play calling guy because you never know what the play was that was called, and the quarterback changes it. It seemed like a bad game plan today. I thought that even though they weren't running effectively, I thought they went away from it too quickly, which is usually unlike me. But so you got to blame everybody here. The defense wasn't good. Myles Garrett played his ass off, dealing with 82 injuries. He had 3 sacks in this game. The Browns had 6 sacks in the game? How do you have 6 sacks and get crushed? But, the Chargers had 6 as well. 3 for Myles Garrett. Dalvin Tomlinson played well. I thought overall the defensive line played pretty well. But that was it. The offense was terrible across the board. Jameis in particular was absolutely awful. He made some just hideous throws. And last week he got lucky to not turn the ball over, and he made a lot of really good throws. This week he made almost no good throws, and he did not get lucky. He had 3 picks and probably could have had 5. You can't win that way. I mean, it's that simple. We thought you could live with the interceptions as long as you could live with an interception or 2 if you throw 2, 3, 4 touchdowns. Can't live with it when you throw 1. And you can't run. The secondary was awful. I don't know what happened with Denzel Ward. There was miscommunication. We've seen this. Our guy Tyvis has talked about this a million times. A consistent lack of communication, 2 massive breakdowns that led to 2 big touchdowns early in the game. And that was it. The defense played better in the second half, but I'm not giving him much credit. The defense is a fraud. You got Myles Garrett, you got JOK, you don't have much else. You really don't. Nobody else really stands out to me at this point. I'll give, like I said, I thought Tomlinson certainly made his impact felt today, but the secondary was awful. Juan Thornhill stinks. And just terrible play across the board. And so Jameis Winston was not the magic elixir because he was terrible. And that's been the problem his whole career. He's been inconsistent. He'll give you games where he plays great. He'll give you games where he plays terrible. Wouldn't surprise me if he played great against the bad Saints team in 2 weeks after the bye. But it doesn't matter at this point. The season's over. The Browns have zero chance to go to the playoffs. They'd have to go 8-0. There's no chance this team's going 8-0. And so that's out the window. So now you got to look at everything from a different perspective. Everybody's getting judged here. From Kevin Stefanski and the rest of the coaching staff, Andrew Berry, all the players, who's going to be part of this future or not? Who wants to keep playing hard and who wants to be a quitter and a loser? Because there's no excuse for anything else. I mean, I thought the defense quit on that final Chargers touchdown. They had done a good job on Dobbins for most of the game, and they just let him run through him like Swiss cheese. Gave up some big third down completions, the complete busts early in the game, and there's just really not much good to say. Listen, they're not as bad. They're not as bad a football team as they played today. They're definitely not as good a football team as they played last week. I don't think they're terrible. They're a below-average football team. We did overrate the talent a little bit. I still like the promise I'm seeing from Cedric Tillman, even though the stats are misleading. But it was a great play. It was garbage time, but it was a great play. I mean, the Chargers were trying to stop him. So I'm going to maybe unfairly give Tillman credit for that. But they can't run the football right now. We thought it'd be fixed with Nick Chubb. It's not. He's just not the guy right now. And Adam Archuleta on the broadcast saying they got to run this through Nick Chubb. I mean, they got to run the ball more. They've got to be more balanced. We all understand that. You can't run it through Nick Chubb right now. He's just not capable at the moment. He's not. I'm sure it pains you to hear that. It certainly pains me to hear it. It pains me to say it. He's just not. He's not very good right now. It's not his fault, but he's just not good. Hopefully he will be again at some point. But the Browns got a lot of work to do. And, yeah, I know there's going to be every time the Browns lose a game, everybody wants to fire the coach. I had somebody in the NFL text me as soon as the game was over and said Ken Dorsey was terrible. And I'm like, we just lauded the change and lauded him for last week, and now a week later he's terrible. And this is from someone in the NFL. So I know it feels hopeless right now. I get it. The Browns have basically been tanking for 15 years, outside of a couple of times in the last 5. And it's not gotten them very far. I think the Browns will be active on the trade market this week. There was a report from Mike Florio today that Zadarius Smith could get traded tonight to the Lions. Why not? He's not doing you any good. He's an old player. I'm not trading Myles Garrett. Just not going to do it. I'm not going to trade Nick Chubb because he has no trade value. I would absolutely trade Jameis Winston if someone wants him. Certainly after the performance today, I don't think there's going to be much demand for Jameis, but I would trade him. Last week I said I wouldn't trade him because you got to stop tanking all the time, and that's probably true, But I do think, and man, I understand what stability means. You can't win without stability. But I do believe, and I've said this consistently this year, that I think it's time to break it up a little bit. I would stick with Kevin Stefanski. I'm absolutely not firing Kevin Stefanski. I do think I said this last week, even after the win, I'll say it again this week. I think he's a good coach, a solid coach, having a bad season. I wouldn't fire him. I would fire Andrew Berry because you got to do something with this pick. I don't trust Andrew Berry to get it right. I don't know how you could, because he hasn't done much right. The Browns, let's see where they are. Let's see where they are in terms of the first pick in the draft as of this moment. They are in a six-way tie with the Panthers, Saints, Giants, Raiders, and Patriots, with the worst record in the NFL at 2-7. So the tiebreaker is not head-to-head. The tiebreaker is strength of schedule. So let's look at that. Standings. Here we go. Okay. And let's see. Where the hell is the strength of schedule? Here we go. The Browns' strength of schedule, 474. Patriots have a worse strength of schedule. Right now, the Browns are tied with the Panthers for the second pick in the draft. I'm not sure they have the exact same strength of schedule. I'm not sure what the next tiebreaker is. So as of this moment, the Browns would have either the second or the third pick in the draft. They're likely going to have a top 10 pick, and I do not want to see Andrew Berry make that pick. You know, you got a bye coming up. That Saints game, had they won, we would have been pumped for it. Now it doesn't matter. Even if they win, who cares? Can you guys bring up that schedule again that you just had up there? I want to kind of look at that again. Yeah, let's. You got the Steelers then on short rest. That's at home. So the Browns have been home for a month basically. Now they've got one home game between now and the middle of December, and it's against the Steelers on short rest. Obviously, the Steelers are playing well, so you're playing them twice. And the Saints and Broncos, not great teams. Saints are bad. Broncos are mediocre. Both those games on the road. The Browns are going to finish with 5 wins probably. They'll probably finish 5-12. Best case, 6-11. They'll win at least 2 games. They'll win between 4 and 6 games. I say they finish 5-12. And that's going to be in the mix for a top 5 pick probably with the other bad teams. They shouldn't be this bad. Kevin Stefanski takes a hit for it. To me, that hit should not include him getting fired. I understand the reaction to want him fired. There's probably some of you yelling and screaming like lunatics right now, and I've been known to do that. If you've been following me for my entire time in Cleveland, I've yelled and screamed like a lunatic many times. I'm trying to remain calm right now because I'm really more mad at myself for buying in at all that the Browns were going to make a run. That was absolute idiocy. And I was laughing at the people who were doing it initially, and then I suckered myself into it. I blame nobody but myself. I'm going to rip nobody but myself. It was embarrassing that I had a discussion last week about the Browns potentially making the playoffs. That was pathetic. It was pitiful, and it's a terrible job out of me. I let you all down. I believed it, and I should never have believed it. I shouldn't. That was stupid. That being said, there are, as bad as it looks, there are building blocks on this team, but we need a new guy, a new decision maker. If I were Jimmy Haslam, let me get into criminal mode. Hold on. I mean, I have committed crimes. I'm not going to lie. I once ate at a Wegmans in Brockport. When I was in college, I ate a pound of ham that I didn't pay for. That was stealing. I once stole, when I was 18, I stole a sweatshirt. I remember it was a dark blue navy blue sweatshirt, and it said Nike. It had the swoosh right across. I thought it was cool. And I'm not cool. I stole that from a store. I was so scared. I had to cut out that exploding thing. Those are my 2 criminal acts. So I can get into being Jimmy Haslam, be a criminal. I mean, his crimes are more serious, but I can get there. I've sped. I've jaywalked. I've made U-turns. What else have I done? I don't know. I've probably done some other things that I can't think of at the moment. So if I were Jiminal the criminal, I would fire Paul DePodesta. I would fire Andrew Berry. And I would get a new GM in here. Now, I got to think. I'm going to spend the next couple days thinking about some good options. But the Browns need somebody. They need somebody, and I don't want Bill Belichick. I want Bill Belichick. He hasn't been a good GM in a decade. I don't want some old guy who was washed up and used to be great and now is collecting paychecks from Jimmy, from Jim Minnell the criminal. I want somebody good in their prime. I'm not sure who that is. God damn it, John Dorsey. If you hadn't bet it all on Freddie Kitchens, he'd probably still be here. Who knows how good the Browns would be? We'll never know. So they need to make a decision there. My guess is they won't fire Andrew Berry, or they'll fire Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, which in my opinion would be a mistake. Don't trade Myles Garrett. And there's a lot more talk. We'll talk draft and all this stuff coming up. But for now, man, this sucks. It was terrible. I got to tell you something. We got a really cool deal going on right now here at Bet Rivers. Here we go. Earn a chance at $10,000. Who wouldn't want to win $10,000 in bonus money with Bet Rivers prop packs? You see the thing up there, the prop packs? Place NBA same-game parlays to collect player card prop packs and earn rewards. You win based on how your player performs. What is a prop pack, you may ask? I had no clue what it was about a week ago. Well, it's a set of up to 3 virtual player scoring prop cards for the upcoming game with an indicated prize. If the player hits the scoring target, you win that prize included. It's that simple. Log into BetRivers.com or the BetRivers app to place your bet and get your pack today. $10 minimum, NBA 3+ leg, same game parlay. Listen. Right now we can get some pleasure out of the NBA. The Cavs are 7-0. If they win tomorrow, look at that. You guys were ready with the Cavs. Nice job. Beat the Bucks. That was a great game. I got to tell you, I've been not really getting into basketball, but I was into it. I had fun last night watching that game. It was a great win by the Cavs. And Donovan to pull that out. Because the Bucks were that felt like a playoff game. Both teams wanted that one. The Cavs have a chance on tomorrow when they play the Bucks again at home to tie the franchise record for the best start ever at 8-0. And that was not with LeBron. They never started 8-0 with LeBron, which is hard to believe. It was, I don't remember what year it was, but it was in the 70s. So hopefully they'll give us some pleasure like the Guardians did, because this Browns team it's a bad situation. And it's not going to change this year. There's just nothing that's going to happen this year that's going to be able to turn it around in season. Should they go with DTR? I guess. I don't know that it matters. DTR is not the long-term answer. The guy weighs about 112 pounds. My ass weighs more than he does. And so he's not going to last. That guy can't last. So if they don't trade Jameis, I guess I'd just stick with Jameis. You want to play DTR, fine. That's another thing I can't. Let's see what he's got. Maybe he can be. He's not the answer. Come on, we all know that. The Browns' continual search for the right player at quarterback has been unending and ugly. Kevin Stefanski did say, as you see there, that Watson will still be the quarterback going forward, at least for now. Whether that changes, certainly it could change. The trade deadline, as we said, is Tuesday. By the way, how weird is it that Election Day is the same day? Why have the trade deadline on Election Day? Can't you make it the next day? That just seems weird. I guess it doesn't matter in the end. Let's see if there were any other post-game comments. I'm looking through some of the post-game comments to see if there was anything else, but and any other updates here. But Stefanski, Jameis Winston still the starter going forward. We got that already. Let's see. Let me look at one more place here. See if we've got anything, because obviously I can't watch the post game. DeJuan Jones, I didn't mention this in case you missed it. He went to the locker room at the start of the fourth quarter. Jed Wills was in at left tackle. It's funny. DTR weighs 10 pounds. He can't stay healthy. DeJuan Jones weighs 400 pounds, and he can't stay healthy. So, not good either way that you're dealing with injuries. But the big thing out of the post game is Jameis will start unless he gets traded. But again, that's not the way he played today. Is certainly not going to help his trade value. I still think that teams know what Jameis is, and if somebody's interested, I don't know that the return. I don't think you were ever going to get a big return for Jameis, win or lose, no matter how he played today. I don't know, and this game was particularly bad, but I don't know in the end if it matters. So Joy on Twitter says, my husband said, put you on, and I said, no, you're just going to scream. I actually haven't screamed. I don't think I've screamed this whole postgame. It's kind of resignation. Chris says, JOK missing hurt us today for sure. Get money, go legit, says 4 weeks of this straight disaster. Larry says, Jones is a wasted draft pick again, just like most of the others. Please get somebody that knows what they are doing. I don't know that he's a wasted draft pick. Outside of last week, he hasn't played well, though. Does anybody trust the Browns to get it right? And I've said this before. If you have no faith at all, then the draft picks are meaningless. But I don't have a lot of faith in Andrew Berry finding the right quarterback. And the people that know this stuff don't think any of these quarterbacks are going to be that good, except for maybe Sanders. And can you imagine Deion letting his son play here? I just don't see it. Tori says, I think we fired Jim Schwartz. Really? In his first year here, they had a great defense. Second year, it's been bad. I agree. Going to fire him after after one bad season? That's short-sighted. Chris says, the fans left the stadium faster tonight than in years, Bull. That's not good, but understandable. Roderick says, I'd trade Smith for a 2025 fourth rounder and Hooker. Okay. Diesel, other coaches get in people's faces and hold them accountable. Who? Who are these coaches that getting in faces and hold them accountable? Antonio Pierce, how they doing? He does it. How they doing? They're 2-7 also. Jeffrey, we need to stop bouncing around quarterbacks too. Yes, Jameis Winston threw 3 interceptions, but a receiver's got 0 separation. The run game was non-existent. It was not all his fault. Who said it's all his fault? But, folks, you got to stop with this. The quarterback gets the most blame, the most credit. It's never anybody's fault, 100%. I got all these characters. You said it was 100% Deshaun Watson's fault. Deshaun Watson's bad at football. Why are you getting mad at me? I thought he was great at football because when they traded for him, he had been great at football. So I expected him to be great at football. But now he doesn't know how to play football anymore. So it's my fault? That doesn't mean the guys are playing well enough around him. And the guys didn't play well enough around Jameis too, but he was bad at football today. It's just obvious. I don't know what we're just arguing about here. Tony, we should hire John Gruden. See, you can't with these retreads. We can't bring in retreads. I'm not interested in Gruden. He's shot. Goodbye. 50 years in waiting says wasted time. Me and Haslam are lucky I live in Honolulu, or I'd probably live in Mansfield. Brian says Ozzie Newsome is GM. You know what? That's an old guy I would take, but I don't think he wants to do it anymore. I don't think he would. Yeah, Pranav. Cavs were awesome yesterday. It was a great game. Game was depressing, says Little Man the OG. I agree with you. Um, Thomas says, Bull, I don't agree with you politically. Come on, Thomas. You know what the thing is about politics, and I'll spend 8 seconds on it. Most of us, if we really sat down and have a conversation, and I've done this with people on the other side of the aisle, we actually agree on more than you think. So I bet you we agree on a lot of things that you don't think we do. I bet. But whatever. He says, but I think your sports takes are the best in town. There's no doubt about that, Thomas. My sports takes are the best in town. That's been decided already. I think it's pretty simple. Most of the other people in town are frauds. That's not true. I'm kidding. I mean, some are, but most are not. Someone in town has to keep the Browns town realistic. I count on you to do that. I'll try, Thomas. Last week was bad. Let's see. J-Bo, Dorsey might be here if he took Allen instead of Baker. Sure. Diesel, Freddie Kitchens' fault. Just let's blame him today. Waste of time, sell the team. Antoine says U-turns are not crimes. They're not. All right, good. But that's not one of the criminals. One of the crimes I've committed. Jiminal the criminal. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Sean says, Bull, a new GM is going to want to pick his head coach. Probably fair. That's probably fair. Let's see. Little Man the OG. Darryl says the same thing. That may happen. And if we could get if you can get a short thing GM and he wants to change the coach, I guess I'd have to agree to that in the end, to be fair. Grass in Bass. Kevin Stefanski 2-14 in his last 16 games. What? Including the get out of here with the preseason. Including the preseason. You can't include the preseason. Stop. It's still bad even without the preseason. Nate says Bull ate a pound of ham as fast as he could, then fled to Wegmans. That's true. That is a fact. Silverlicious, thank you for your coverage, Bull. Have a good night no matter what. Thank you, Silverlicious. Shane, quit devoting time to this loser organization. Just cover the teams worthy of our attention. Well, this is a post-game show. I'm going to talk about the Browns. On other shows, I talk about other things, but right now this is a Browns post-game show, and I did talk about the Cavs for a couple of minutes, but, I mean, come on. Let's see. Diesel, trade deadline should be 3 weeks later. Nah, I'd push it back one more week, not 3 weeks. 1 or 2. They pushed it back 1 week this week to have it on election day, which is stupid. And it should be you should push it back in another week or 2. Mario says, I'm his favorite on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. You're known for your taste, Mario. That's what everybody tells me, is that you're known for your taste, so I would agree with you. Roderick says, I would try to bring Newsom home for 1 year. I think Newsom's not very good. Josh says, why do I drink? Walmart and the Browns. Joe Mannix, 2 months of no football. Brandon says, the Browns had to add to the depression on the day the sun sets. Yeah, that sucks. It's getting dark right now. It's not quite dark at 5, but it's getting there. I give Ryan Day credit. I mean, he's still a soft ass, but he gotta win. James Franklin is just a worse coach than Ryan Day. Ryan Day's a jag, but James Franklin stinks. He's fighting with fans in the crowd. Ryan Day's a nice solid jag coach, middle of the road. Shouldn't be the Ohio State coach, but he won yesterday against a pretty good team, so give him credit for that. Antoine says, what do you think of sucking for 2 years for Arch Manning? Oh, God. I don't know. I don't want to cover a crappy football team. I want the Browns to win. This is not fun. Just suck year after year. Nobody wants that. I mean, I know you want to get a good quarterback, and the Mannings are always a year late for the Browns, huh? Thanks, everybody. I'll be back with another podcast on Tuesday. We will talk about the Cavs on Tuesday following their Monday night game with the Bucks tomorrow night at home. Hopefully, tie a franchise record at 8-0. Also on Tuesday, we'll see if the Browns. Normally I put out a podcast Tuesday morning, but I'll wait till after the trade deadline to see if the Browns do anything. So we'll react to that, the Cavs Monday game, and a whole lot more. Thanks, everybody, for joining me today. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks to Z and Max for producing today. Once again, the final score, Chargers beat the Browns 27-10. The Browns are tied with 5 other teams for the worst record in the NFL. They are tied for the second pick in the draft right now. That's how bad it's been. Nobody could have predicted it would be this bad, I don't think. I didn't have the Browns making the playoffs this year, but no way I thought they'd be this bad. It's ugly. And they're on a bye this week, so I can't bounce back next week. Maybe in 2 weeks against the Saints, and then people can con themselves again. I will not fall for it again, because the Browns are going to beat the Saints in 2 weeks. They'll be 3-7, and we'll have people talking about them winning out to make the playoffs at 10-7. It's not going to happen. They're going to win 6 games max. The team's not very good, and you're not conning me this time. I can't blame you, the collective you. It's all me. That's it. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday, and I'll be on tomorrow's Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show as well. We'll talk to you next time. Where else? But right here in the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody.